yesterday, Claude announced a new feature about skills. Let me share my screen so that we can get into the demo space right away. Now we have chat and co-work, which is separated here. If you remember, it used to be on here because now we just have home and code. Claude Code is here. What is a skill, right? First of all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a skill. So a skill is a folder, actually. You can find them here. If you click plus skills, you have a bunch that I've created already, okay? And we all have some native skills. You want to find native skills, you can come to skills, you can go to browse skills, okay? And if you go to the Anthropic, right, you will find what we call Anthropic verified skills, okay? So you have a bunch of them here, and they're quite good as well. And I really suggest you check them out. There's even more that you can find. One of the best things about Claude is the skill creator. So I am gonna use that right away, okay? And because this is the quick hack on how to build great skills, right? So if you come to skills, you will have the skill creator. By the way, you don't have to go there. You can also do / and you can write skill creator and you can tab it. Another thing is, if I didn't put skill creator, but I have the skill available, if my prompt is clear enough, Claude will understand that I need that skill, that it needs that skill to do the job. This is an important fact, by the way, right? This is a very important fact because this is what's the most important thing about skills. It's that description, right? So that little description is what Claude has in his context to make that decision to match your prompts, your request with whatever skill it has available. So these needs to be clear, right? They need to be clear, and you got to make sure that they're not very confusing, especially if you have a couple of skills that are similar, okay? So I've had that problem. You have a couple of skills that are similar and your team members create similar skills and they put it on there and you download it because you're like, oh, let me check this skill. And then you ask a request and then Claude might choose the wrong skill. Why would it choose the wrong skill? Because that description might be not specific enough to your request, okay? So that's how you would iterate on your skills, is by making sure the description gets better and that, you know, you kind of fire up, right? You trigger that skill for the right prompt. This is an important one, okay? Like this is one of the tips that you should with you on understanding what the description does in a skill. But let's build one so that we can kind of study the skill as we go along, okay? So I'm going to build really my skill that I absolutely love. So you can see what I have in my hand. So this is actually, I created a demo sample because I didn't want to show you, you know, some sensitive information. So we're going to build that. We're going to build a daily card, okay? You can build whatever skill you want, by the way, right? And you can follow along, right? For the people who likes to follow along, think about a skill you want to build and just build it along with me, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prompt this very quickly, okay? Here we go. Create a new skill called daily card using the skill creator. It takes my top 3 priorities, today's calendar, and my follow-ups and turns them into a printable 1-page A4 daily card. Rules: exactly 1 page, minimal ink, no filled backgrounds, thin orange left borders, checkboxes I can tick with a pen, logo top left, ask me what you need, show me SKILL.md before saving, right? So I just put it in this box. As you can see, I didn't even pull the skill creator skill that I just showed earlier. So what I did is I didn't go and use my skill creator skill, right? Because the description is more than enough, right, for it to understand that it needs the skill creator, but I even said using the skill creator. So I'm making it even like almost like dummy proof. I'm going to go quick today. I'm not going to go Opus 4.8. I would use a skill is very important, right? Because I'm going to keep using this. A skill for me is important. So I would use Opus 4.8 if I have the limits and so on. So daily card is actually a folder. So if I open in my computer, it opens up as a folder. Inside this folder, inside the daily card folder, and this is very important, okay? Because the skill name comes from the folder's name. I want you to remember that, please. So daily card is the name of the folder, and then inside it, you always have to have one file. Like that's your first file that you have to have if you want to have a skill, right? It's the SKILL.md. It's always in caps and it's a markdown file. There's a great question from Tutuba. What would be the difference between a skill and a prompt? Is it for the recurrent prompts? It's for recurring prompts, but a skill packages your best prompts, the context, and desired output format into a structured file, which is the SKILL.md file. You do a job, you ask, and done. So a skill is really making a specialist run a process, run a system over and over again. right? Also, I could say, instead of explaining how to do a task each time, the agent remembers the skill. It reads the step-by-step standard operating procedure, the SOP, right? The process, and applies it consistently across runs. So if you keep using a prompt, and it's, they used to call them mega prompts, right? And you're like, oh, but I wanted to also have some connectors, and I want to go gather data, and I wanted to have a template or 3 different templates, and to decide when to use which template, right? You are going to build a skill. You're not going to keep that in a prompt. It's that simple. Let's do a new chat. And what I need to do in this, though, you'll see why I'm going to do this, because this is going to record my whole screen. This is where the thing gets very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on plus, and I'm going to click on record the skill. All right, start recording. And as you can see, there's even a mic. Okay. And I can talk about what I'm doing at the same time as it's watching the screen. This is absolutely ridiculous. So don't type passwords or secrets or display sensitive information or private conversations while recording. Your screen, clicks, typing, and voice are recorded and sent to Claude and turned into a repeatable skill. Let's start recording, and I'm going to build a skill that looks at my newsletter analytics and posts and stuff. So I want to understand each topic. What I've covered, was it personal? Were there some news? Different things, analyzing very quickly the content, the insights of the content. And I want to do that for the past 4 newsletters. And then I want to have an insights dashboard. You could use an artifact for that. And so I've done that, and I have this little button that has been going on, capturing 33 steps. All right. And I'm going to click done. So as you can see, I'll close this left again. Right. What happened is that it recorded the demonstration. Right. So, wow, look at this. It recorded. I can see, switch to Google Chrome, clicked on this, clicked, scroll down, right? It's kind of recorded everything that I did, okay? So I'll close it up. And it says, this looks like a demonstration recording of a workflow checking Beehiv newsletter stats. It has all that context in this chat, which is awesome. So now I didn't even have to, use the skill creator. I didn't have to type anything, right? I just click record the skill, and I did my job. I went and I looked and I analyzed my newsletter, how many subscribers I have, how many people I have, and also how awesome is that? So now it's created the skill actually, okay? It's kind of ran the skill, right? I bet you ran the skill, create a skill without even saying again, with the context of this recorded demonstration. We have the Beehiv weekly stats skill. I want to turn this into like a newsletter plugin so that there is the clothing Chrome, there is the Beehiv weekly stats as a skill, and maybe I'll create a monthly newsletter review skill and a bunch of other skills. So I'm aiming to see if we can create a plugin from here. So the idea of, let's go to our organization settings so that you guys can see the background of this. Well, this is the Anthropic ones. Now let's go to ours. Writing is a plugin. And if I view files, as you can see inside this, I have a bunch of skills. I have repurpose, social media hook, and you can see, right? Remember I said that every folder name is the name of the skill. So this is the name of the skill, it's the name of the folder, of the subfolder. And if I click in it, I have a skill.md file, and that's the skill.md file. And if I go again to another folder, it has a skill.md file. You can see each of them has a skill.md file. And the other things that you can have in a plugin is you could have a set of connectors. Somebody who works in video is going to go into the video one, right? And it's going to be like, oh, wow, amazing. We have, oh, look, I was saying about assets, remember? So we have some layouts, right? We have some logos, right? We have all our logos here. Imagine that. Look, we have all our logos. So that this plugin that has all these commands and these skills, and they can use these assets. So if I close everything up, you'll see a bit cleaner version. So what is a plugin? A plugin is a folder of folders. And inside this folder of folders, we can have assets, commands, skills. We can have a bunch of different stuff, right? I have 18 files in this one. This is the README file that I know what this whole thing does, right? It can do long form edit, short form edit, create video. It can do all of this stuff. It uses the Descript MCP connector where we edit our videos. It has this README. It has all of these assets and commands and skills. And now anybody in my company can pull up this plugin and use it. And imagine that we have it for our trainings. We have it for our Slack, for brand, for video, for graphics, for writing. We have it for a bunch of other stuff as well, right? And this is how you create these skills. You put them in a plugin folder, and then you share it across your team. I would name it as AIO newsletter, which is perfect. Besides the updated Beehiv weekly stats skills, what should ship in V1? Let's say just that. Anything else the plugin should cover? Subject line testing, sponsor tracking. Oh, I like that. Like, let's say all of this. This is awesome. All right, I just put that in there. right? And now I bet you it's going to create a bunch of other skills to do that work as well. So it's going to create one for subject line testing, one for sponsor tracking, one for growth source analysis. And it's going to create, 4 or 5 different skills. It's going to put them inside a plugin folder called AIO newsletter. And then I'm going to test it a couple more times. And then when I'm happy and I'm like, wow, this is awesome, then I can allow my team to have access to it. I can share it with them. They can download it, they can install it, they can use it.